Good morning, folks. Welcome back to Inspiring Thoughts from the Bible, live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg, especially to our wonderful friends in Europe. And today we're joined by many people. I got my fellow Canadian, Timothy, from Nova Scotia, Canada, and I'm all the way across the country in British Columbia. Plus, we got Cole with us joining from the Pacific Northwest as well. How you doing, Cole?
Doing good, thanks.
And, of course, our wonderful friends in Vilnius, Lithuania. We've got Renat and Mattis and his lovely wife and child joining with us today. But, of course, we've got Rabbi Chaim Goldberg, who's here to share with us some wonderful message, continuing on in the book of Genesis. And we've been learning so much in this class coming up to this point. I just look forward to it more and more as he brings to light the Hebrew roots and their tradition, and it just comes alive in our hearts. Rabbi Chaim, please take over the class.
Hi, good evening, everybody from Jerusalem. It's very nice to meet you all, to see you all. That we have also live. I'm asking people they can join us. We can have 100 people on this platform. We can speak. Tonight it's going to be a very, I will say, very hard class. You know, it's going to be with very new things. So I'm asking you all, hold tight on your chair and sit tight because we're going to learn really new things that you never thought about. Just a moment, I must have a small interference, so I'm going out for a moment, and it will take me 2 minutes. In the meanwhile, Dan, we're going to break the myth, but if it's okay, if you can read, you can see what's happening on the screen, right?
No, I can't.
I shared the screen. Now, you can see the screen or not?
Nope, we're just seeing you. You probably got to check your tabs up the top. We were able to see it briefly. You're
just a moment. I must go out for a moment, so I'm sorry. Just a moment.
Okay.
Meanwhile, people will share the places.
Okay. I'm going to chat with Renat. Renat, tell us what's going on there in Vilnius, Lithuania. How are you doing?
It's just perfect. The summer is over here, and everyone is enjoying the good weather. People are out, and people are getting ready for the vacation season.
Wow. We're already starting. We're going to hit 27 Celsius today, and it's supposed to be 30 Celsius tomorrow here in British Columbia. I don't know about the temperatures there.
It's a bit lower. It's like 24, I think, today. A bit rainy and sunny on and off, but still it's pretty pleasant. It's much better than the normal weather of Lithuania should be in this season. Excellent.
Well, we're glad to see everything's blossoming. I mean, where I live, it's quite a tourist destination, and we just got beaches filled with people in the summertime, but it's vacates every winter here in Canada. So now, Cole, you're down in Washington State. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're just below me. I mean, you're how close to Seattle are you?
I am right in the middle. I'm in the beautiful University District next to the University of Washington.
Oh, there you go. Well, I'm a little bit in from the coast. I'm a few hundred kilometers or a couple hundred miles from the coast, but just above Washington State. I'm a half-hour drive from the border of Osoyoos, which is desert here in Canada. So we're like Northern California, if you will. How about Timothy? Timothy, what's it like in Nova Scotia? Is it cold there?
The spring, it's picking up. So
yes.
It's about, I think, 18, 19 degrees out Celsius. So it's getting warmer.
You got the Atlantic Ocean right there, yes? Are you near the coast?
Yes, in Halifax. So the winds and stuff like that, like if the wind comes off the ocean or not, determines some of the temperatures and stuff a little bit. Winds from the ocean. So
that's interesting. Hey, and I noticed we got Daniel with us. Daniel, where are you again? Are you aren't you down south?
Hello.
Hello,
Yes.
Daniel.
Hello. How you guys doing?
We're good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm in my house as usual. The weather's pretty cool actually. I'm quite fortunate to have some sunlight today because down here is kind of cloudy at the place that I live at. There's a lot of
Where are you
clouds.
again? What country are you in?
Colombia,
Near Bogota?
Bogota. Uh huh.
So you got a
Yep.
lot of mountains.
Yep. We're actually in the I wouldn't say the top of the mountain, but we're kind of surrounded of huge mountains. So yeah, we always have
Beautiful country.
a cloudy weather. But today we're having kind of sort of a sunny day. That's what I call
Overcast.
sunny today. But
There
yeah,
you go, folks.
yeah, it's
Bogota,
everything
Colombia. That's a
good about.
big city.
Yeah.
What's the population of Bogota,
Yeah.
Daniel? Do you know the population of Bogota? It's a big city, isn't it?
Yeah. I would say it's around like 8 million people.
8 million people. Yeah, that's large.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Wow.
people, for the
Yeah.
inconvenience. I'm sorry. So
That's
let's
okay. We've just been doing around the table here.
very important. So you can't see my screen yet. This is not good.
No, I can see you.
No, to see me, it's right. It's fine, but I'm not the issue here. The Bible is the issue. So
You got to
that's
hit the
fine.
share tab, I think. The share tab on the bottom.
I'm looking for the share tab. I can't find it yet. Why? Good question.
Should pop up on the bottom for you, Rabbi.
It's not in the bottom. Let's try again from the beginning. Share. Here it is. Daniel. Hi. Good to see you also.
Yes, he's in Bogota,
Hello,
Colombia.
Rabbi.
Okay, I think now you can see my screen.
Now we can see it perfectly, Rabbi.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to have a very deep lesson with breaking some myth. People who think that they know things, and we will see how the Hebrew nation is learning very essential things about regarding things that are related to the Eden time before the world. So please, Dan, if it's okay with you, read the sentences of the Genesis number 2 that I'm putting on the board. I'm skipping here a few verses, but mainly it's speaking about what is happening in the Garden of Eden. So please, Dan.
All right. So starting at verse 8 of Genesis chapter 2.
Yes.
And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden from the east, and he placed there the man whom he had formed. And the Lord God caused to sprout from the ground every tree pleasant to see and good to eat, and the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now the Lord God took the man, and he placed him in the garden to work it and to guard it. And the Lord God commanded man, saying, Of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it, for on the day that you eat thereof you shall surely die.
Okay, so we all know this story. We basically in the Hebrew nation we're teaching this already in the kindergarten.
Yes.
But let's try to dive inside and to start to understand a bit more what is really happening here. Okay. Now, if you will see again, chapter 2, everywhere is saying Lord God. We spoke about this last week. It's the two words, not only Elohim, but also Yud K Vav K. But I want to emphasize the verse number 16 in this moment to start, okay, with verse number 16, where before we put this one, just straight after God is taking man and placing him in the Garden of Eden, the first thing that God is doing, he is commanding the man something, okay? Vayetzav, he's commanding, okay? And the first thing, I already said that already, but I want to remind us all that we see that a normal man is the one who is speaking with God, what we call prophecy. This is a normal man. Normal man is straight away ahead. at the beginning of his life, he is speaking with God. Now we need to understand that today, it's already for more than 2,400 years that we don't have a normal man in this world. This is very important. In my site, you can see also a bit of understanding, but what is the difference between the prophecy understanding and the prophecy, I will say, mind, and the philosophical mind that we have today. It's a very big difference between those two, and we'll go inside to this, we'll dive inside to this issue, and the next time, I think in the second time from today or the third time from today, we'll speak about this a bit more. But this is the first point that I want to mention. Second point I want to mention is that God is saying to him what is his purpose in life. And this is only for men. Only man is getting straight ahead after he is being created and being put in the Garden of Eden. God is also saying to him, this is your purpose in life. The animals, they're not looking for what is their purpose in life, you know. Every cat knows exactly how to behave. Every elephant knows exactly how to behave. Only men who have recognition, who have a consciousness, who have his mind, is asking himself, okay, what is it that I need to do? What is my purpose in life? And God is saying to us, what is our purpose in life? Okay, he is very nice with us. He is speaking with us, and he's saying to us, this is what you need to do. So what God says to us that we need to do, who can see what is happening here? It's in the Hebrew side, okay? Achol tochel. What exactly God is saying to us that we need to do?
Of every tree of the garden you may freely eat.
Okay, so what we see here, okay, that our purpose in life is that we need to eat. We need to eat. So if I will say it like that, if you ask an animal, why is he eating? He is eating because he wants to live. But with us, it's just the opposite way around. We are living because our purpose in life is to eat. Okay? First myth I'm going to break down. Now, usually, we don't feel like that, you know, but we need to ask ourselves, and it's a very hard question, a very right one, I will say it like that. Why is it that God created us that we need to eat twice or three times a day? Think about this. It's not that we need to, you know, for example, twice a day to stand upside down on our heads for, let's say, for half an hour. We don't need to do this. Okay, we don't need to do other things. Just a moment. We don't need to do, I will say, I don't know what. Okay, listen, but we need to eat twice a day or three times a day. What is it in this eating issue that that it's part of, you know, that God created us like that we need to eat? And he's saying to us, this is the purpose of life. You need to eat. And again, I'm saying this sentence is very important. It's not like the animals that we eat for living, okay? The animals are eating for living. We live for eating. It's just the opposite way around. Now, the issue is, it's more than that. I will say another thing, that it says that we need to eat every tree. We need to eat from everything. We need to taste everything. We need to try everything. We need to do everything with this thing. So let's go inside a bit to this, to understand a bit what exactly is the meaning of eating. Now, one of the things that I'm saying in few verses, a few times I said already, the eating, first of all, is teaching us that we can live from something outside of us. The only way that you can live is by getting something from outside of us.
Right, so we're not self-reliant.
Again, exactly. And this is also will bring us to recognition that there is God who is giving us life. So we have an experience every day with ourselves that we are relying on something from outside of us. We can't live if we are, you know, by ourselves, only by ourselves, without anything from outside. We need water, we need to breathe, we need to eat, we need something from outside to live. So this is the first thing. This is the most basic thing that we need to say. But let's go inside and to dive inside, a bit deeper inside to this issue.
Sure, the meaning of eating. Yes.
The meaning of eating. So I'm going back to something that we spoke last week. It's not so far, and I'm reminding ourselves a few points, and then we will be able to understand this eating in a deeper level, in a profound level. Last week we spoke about that we have the four, I will say, stages of things that were created in this world. We have the earth, the stones, the metals, the elements. Then we have the plants. They're standing still in one place, but they are already starting to grow. They already have some sort of propagation. Then we have the animated beings, all the animals, okay, that they are not only having a growth, but they're also moving from one place to another place. And then we have the intellect, the person, man, that is one step above all of this. And we asked ourselves, which is the next highest degree? Now, and we answered last week a few things. Okay, we said that the men with the prophecy is the next level, and we also mentioned last week that in the Hebrew language, all of those levels have basically relation with the speaking issue. Okay, so the inanimate are things that are quiet. Okay, that are silent. This is the same word in Hebrew. And the plants also have the word of siach, of speaking, conversation. And the animated beings have also something that is related with the speaking, with the word chaya. Chaya is also speaking. And also the man, his main issue is that he can speak. And from there we get to a conclusion that the man is the public emissary for all creatures. This is what we said last week already. Now, how exactly this is happening? It's happening by us eating things, okay? Let's say, take for example, the potato. We're slicing the potato. We're doing from the potato chips. Who doesn't like chips, okay? Now, when someone is eating a chips, inside himself, those chips are becoming human body.
They digest, yes. They digest, and your body takes the nutrients, sure.
And the body is taking what is supposed to take, and it's also taking out all the garbage that we don't need to keep inside our body. But we are managing to take the plants, okay, the orange, the potato, other things, the plants, and we're managing to bring them to a higher level to become human being. Now, because everything that is eating the plants, okay, if it's an animal or if it's I would say a human being, the plants are getting up one level, at least one level. This is why they are not crying, they're not screaming, they're not doing anything, they're not shouting when we are taking the apple from the tree or when we are taking the carrot from the ground. They're happy. No, it's a very, I will say, honorable thing to be a carrot. But it's much higher level to become a human being or to become, I will say, an animal. Okay. So exactly, but to take, I will say, the animated things, to take an animal, to eat an animal, one of the things that we need to do is to take his life, the animal's life. It's a very big question if the person who is eating this animal is behaving much better than an animal. It might be that in the moral level, he is not behaving differently than an animal. Therefore, when he's slaughtering an animal, it's screaming. It says to himself, who knows, I'm going to be up one level or it's going to be useless. I'm just taking my life because I'm not going to be part of something much bigger. But the issue is that when we are eating things, we are managing to bring things from a lower level of this world to an upper level to become human. And if we are behaving in a moral way, we are managing to up-level everything in this world. And this is, when we're speaking about this issue of eating, this is exactly what God is demanding from us. To be the emissary for all creatures. How? By eating them.
Ooh.
So we are managing to bring them up one level. This is why it's so essential issue in our world. Okay?
That's
Till
a
here.
unique degree of oneness, isn't it?
Yes. So this is, I will say, another level. So the first level that we spoke about is that we are managing to have the experience that we can't be alive unless we are getting help from outside of us. Okay, first issue. Second issue that we're starting to understand that if we are behaving morally and we're managing to act in the right way, everything that we are eating is managing also to go up one level or two levels, okay, to go up with himself to a higher level, to become a human being. It was before that it was a plant, before that it was only a chicken. Now it's a schnitzel, now it's something that we are eating, and it's tasty and everything is good. And this chicken is becoming part of the human being, so it went up one level. It is interesting to note that in the Hebrew words, the word of eating, the word bread is the same letters of the word war, fight. Those are the same letters. It's not the same word, but it's the same letters. Because when we are eating, it's a very big question. If I'm eating, I'm going down 1 degree or 2 degrees because I want to eat. People trying to drink a lot of wine, or people trying only to eat just for eating or something like that. Or I'm managing to up-level everything else from those levels to become in a higher level. So it's some sort of a war inside me. What am I going to be? I'm going to be an animal that's just eating for living, or I'm going to be a human being who is living for to eat things and to bring them to an upper level. Okay, this is why the same words. And I want to go inside to another profound understanding of this issue of eating. Okay, for that, and as again, okay, people live for eating, and this understanding is it's very important, also very essential. And again, I know that it's in a different way of thinking about those issues. The issue is that when we're speaking, I don't know if anyone here saw in his life some sort of a tree that you can get life, or a tree that you will manage to die, like it says in the verses before.
Right.
And we're speaking about something else. We're not speaking only about eating things. Eating is that I'm taking something, adjusting it, and it's happening to be part of me. And the same thing is with every content in this world. Every content that it is in this world, we are adjusting it, and we are putting it to become part of us. Okay. Now there is also a hint in the English language. Now I'll show it to you, Dan. Not all of you. Okay. If I will ask the English speakers here, okay, what is this exactly? The picture here. How do you call this picture of this book? The left side of the book. How do you call it?
The rules.
It's rules. It might be also what else? What else? Cool. What is it?
10 Commandments.
No. It's a simple book. I took it from the internet. It's not the
Instructions.
Just a list of contents.
Who said content? We call this in English table on content of content, right?
Yeah, Renat did.
Right, a table of content. This is what the word table. From where are we taking this word table? This is where we're putting the food when we eat.
Right.
It's on the same understanding. Everything that we are learning, okay, in our life, everything that we are learning, it's a content that we are eating. Okay, everything that we are learning. So it's not only to eat in the biological side, it's also to learn everything. What God is saying to us, you have conscience, you have understanding, you have mind, you have something in your brain here that you can use. And I'm asking you to eat from all of the trees of this garden, to eat everything in this garden. Let's say that this garden is the world. Eat everything, understand everything, learn everything. You need to understand everything that's happening here. So open
Wow.
faculties for music, and faculties for understanding physics, and faculties for languages, and faculties. Learn everything in this world. This is your mission. Your mission is to learn and to learn and to learn and to understand everything that's happening here, because you have the ability of doing this. And this is what God is demanding from man. So we have three levels, okay? First, if you're learning that I can't live without anything unless I understand that I'm related to something outside of me that is giving me life, and this is also teaching me that God is, giving me life. Second thing is that we are managing to bring up one level up to bring things one level up or two levels up by eating them if we are eating correctly. And the third thing is that God is basically saying to us, learn and learn and learn more about this world and what's happening here.
Wow.
Everything that I'm doing here. So this is, I will say, the first myth that I'm going breaking down. It's not that we are eating for living, but we are living for eating in the broader understanding of this word.
Wow,
Question?
that's amazing, Rabbi. Can I just interject?
Yeah, this is.
I just, when you think about eating and it relating to knowledge and growth in that regard, it just makes me think about those people in life that do not grow. They live their lives aimlessly by rote and continue to do things and actions that just exist, but there's no growth. They're not eating per se knowledge. They're not eating wisdom. They're not trying to grow. And it's almost like starving yourself at a certain level. Clearly, I think that's what you bring across a point. I mean, we're here to grow. We're here to eat. We're here to learn. And I think that those that do not, are to a degree, are starving themselves. They're depriving themselves when they function more like an animal.
You're more than right. You're more than right. And another question that we need to ask ourselves: those people, if they are behaving morality or not, okay, in the morality way. But there are people who are not learning and not trying to understand more and more in their life, or not trying to grow up, not with the spiritual side, not with the learning side, not with everything else. And it's an ongoing mission all over of your life. It's an endless mission. I will say it like that until you end the end of your days. And there are people who are not growing, but they're still behaving moral, and this is okay. It's at least they are behaving in the moral way. It's the minimum that we need to do. But God is demanding of us to have the progress of learning and growing all of our life, to I will say capture this world, to understand this world, to learn this world. There is a very interesting midrash in the Hebrew tradition that God brought the animals. First of all, I will say that also the sexuality issue between men and women is being called in the Bible, in another verse, okay, as the bread that someone is eating. And it's the same concept, because the biological issue is that we spoke about this last week, the egg and sperm connecting together, and suddenly we have a new body here in this world. And this is happening by something that is going inside the body, and from the body, it's growing back. It's going, so it's the same thing of eating. And this is how the Bible is calling also this issue. So everything that is related, that in our body, it will become part of our body, part of ourselves, not only with the physical body, but also with the brain, with everything else. This is what we call eating, learning, and growing up. So it's an endless It's an
Mhm.
endless journey until the day that we are dying. So one of the midrash that we have, that God brought the animals in front of the Adam, okay, and he called them their names. So it's first of all it's a verse, but the our sages are saying it's very in a brutal way that. אז תבדוק את זה רגע, תבדוק, רק תרים בזהירות ותבדוק. In a crucial way, in brutal way, sages are saying that. Sorry for a moment. Sorry.
Oh. What do you guys think so far? Any feedback, Timothy, Renat, Cole, anybody?
It's really great insight. It's like he leaves a cliffhanger, right? And then explains it more. And it's eye-opening, yeah.
Anybody else?
Let's just say this is great food for thought.
I find trying to grow in this world, you've got to keep your eyes open, just as much as you would, cook something on a stove. And, there's so many wondrous things that begin to connect us with Hashem out there if we just begin to open our eyes and look. I've spent a lot of time in the scientific field trying to discover certain things. Where's the link and the connectivity, and what is actually digestible. And we understand that there's always things out there that are beyond us, but we each have an individual purpose, I believe, and in that purpose, there's something there that only you can do. That means there's only something that you're going to be able to digest and decipher and then contribute to the rest of the world. If we look at that, as far as food, what you have to contribute is very, very, very important.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm concerned about the word everything. And it's all of the lecture. Maybe somewhere there should be borders what we can eat, but for the moment, I'm really concerned of the everything word.
I see.
Renat, you're more than right. Even though, again, if you can see on the verse, it says every tree. Okay, it's not saying something. This is connected also to the second part of the lesson. But it is true. You're saying from the other side, we have also good and bad things in this world. It is also true that we have also bad things, and the question of behaving, it's a different question. So we need to learn maybe everything. For the other side, there are things that we can't, or we need to behave in this way, or we need to disseminate, to say to some things that those are out of the boundaries. At this point, I must mention also that we're not speaking about, it's something that is happening still in the heaven level, okay? It's not here in this world, exactly, all of this. It's, I would say, the roots of this world. It's not something, we're not speaking about Adam and Eve who are living here. They're living in heaven. When someone is dying, when grandpa is dying, we're saying to the grandchildren, to his grandchildren, he is in heaven now, but the body is here. So he left to somewhere else. It's not with the body issue, something else. But it is, the roots of this world is that we need to learn and to understand and to get related with everything and to find the ways that to use, I will say, to adjust everything in our life. Again, I'm sorry, I have a problem here that I'm sorry. So I'm sorry again.
No, that's okay. Well, Renat, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, there are certain things that don't serve a purpose for every situation. Certain things are designed for certain purposes. And when we know what that purpose is for, it's either pertinent to something or it's not relevant to something. And as far as restriction, as far as what is permissible, walking with Hashem, we need to be conscious of in relationship with Hashem of what we should and shouldn't be doing. I mean, there has to be that sensitivity. I think you're right. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on especially when things are off limit? I believe that Hashem will reveal inevitably why certain things are concealed or off limits, and we'll understand that the purpose that they're off limits is for a benefit, but they exist for a reason. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh yeah, can I point something?
Sure. Okay. I pointed out real quickly, Timothy. I want to hear what Renat's got to say.
I believe there is like explanations, but I don't know them. But I believe there is explanations on why some things are permissible to eat and others are not, like kosher and stuff like that.
Renat, what do you think? I mean, please expound on why things would be off limits, and you're definitely right.
I think this word eating is confusing because for me personally, it's connected with the word consumption. And when God is calling us to consume everything, that it makes you be concerned. Hold on, I mean, is it good to consume everything? Right? But if to relate to the word eating as acquisition, so acquisition more connects with knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, folks. If you have any question, I'm sorry, Renata. You're in the middle of a question. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for.
No, Renat's just sharing some points. Yeah. Can you give Renat just another minute, Rabbi?
Yes. Of course. Yes.
Go ahead, Renat. Keep going.
Sure. So I think if we say that God says us to acquire anything positive that we find around, then it is good. As about consuming, eating, or equal consuming, it's a bit confusing. It's distorting understanding. What does this eating mean? Is it about consumption or it's about acquisition?
Right. No, you're 100% right, because overindulgence does become a problem, or excessiveness in one area can be, harmful. And nature just shows that. I mean, you're 100% right. And I think we live in a day and age, especially here in the West, where rational choice theory economics, that drumbeat where more is better, more. And it's just designed to leave people with a vacuum or a void that they need more or they're not going to be happy, when in reality, Torah supplies everything that we need. And what should we acquire, And I think especially Proverbs really, really helps us out. You got a beautiful point there.
Okay, I will
Continue. Sure, Rabbi. It's your story.
No, it's okay. I will learn this point, Renat. Later on, I will look at this video, so everything is recorded. But I think that also with what I've managed to hear, that we are going to, let's break another myth, a very big one. And I think that it also is going to give you some answers. The myth, it will start to give us some sort of direction with what's happening. So the second myth that we're going to break down, and again, Dan, I'm asking you to read this, the blue one, okay, the blue sentence that we said before.
Just the blue one? And
Yes.
The Lord God caused to sprout from the ground every tree, pleasant to see and good to eat, and the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Okay, so very, very simple question. How many kinds of trees do we have in this garden?
Doesn't say. It says every.
No, everyone.
Fruitful and unfruitful.
Where do
Trees
you see the,
yes,
where do you
fruits
see the unfruitful? Where do you see the unfruitful?
I'm sorry?
I'm just guessing.
Okay, so don't guess. Try to read the sentence to say how many kinds of trees do we have there, or how many kinds the verse is saying to us. It
says every tree pleasant to see and good to eat,
this
and
is
the tree
one.
of life.
Okay. So this is one.
And the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
This is the third one. We have here 3 kinds of trees, okay? Every tree is pleasant to see and good to eat.
I see.
We have the tree of life, right? And the tree of the knowledge. Now, my question is, where is the tree of life being positioned? Where is the position? Where is the place of the tree of life?
In the midst.
In the midst. In the Hebrew, it's a very clear, this word in Hebrew, okay? It doesn't have any, you can't explain this differently, okay? In the Hebrew, the midst is the exact inside, okay? The exact place of the inside. And this is also how Rashi is explaining, in the middle of the garden, okay? Midst is the middle of the garden. Now, the tree of the knowledge, where the tree of the knowledge being possessed, God placed the tree of knowledge. Who knows?
Well,
The edge
someone-
of the garden.
Sorry?
At the edge of the garden.
Option of the edge of the garden. Okay, someone else have another ideas?
I'm thinking beside the tree of life, perhaps in the middle.
In the middle and the side. Okay, fine. Another ideas? I'm going to surprise you.
It's the same tree, the tree of life and tree of knowledge, and yeah, or no?
I want to go with Matas about this. Yeah, Timothy, you wanted to say something?
Could it be where all the waters meet up, or something to do with water?
It might be. It's also a nice idea.
Okay.
No, it's excellent. Let's look for a moment at the continuous of this story. Okay, we know that in verse 17, God is saying, "But the tree of knowledge of good and evil, you shall not eat of." Right. So he's saying this is the only thing that you're not allowed to eat from. We need to speak about this also. I'm going to break another myth, but this will be next week. Okay. But we know that the tree of knowledge of good and evil is a tree that you can't eat. Now, please, let's look for a moment in Genesis 3, verse 3, when the snake is speaking with the woman, and the woman is saying to him, but the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, God said, you shall not eat of it. So maybe Matas is right, and it's the same tree. I said to you, it's going to be a hard lesson today. It's going to break myth. It's the same tree. It's the same tree, the tree of knowledge and the tree of life. So who can explain to me what's happening here? There is only one, we all understand, we all agree that there's only one midst inside this garden. It can't be two. Okay? So Cole said maybe it's one next to each other. Fair enough. But
Rabbi, I believe the point is that something is off limits. That's all. That's the point. The point is it's not so much the tree or what the tree constituted or when it was made of. We in the West grew up, when you were a child, people told you it was an apple, because they're very plentiful here. I mean, but I've heard in the Middle East, some people call it a pomegranate. But the point being, it's not exactly what the tree is. It's that it's off limits. That's the whole point, that not to touch this. You were commanded.
Fair enough, but from the other side, it's the tree of life. We don't see anywhere that God is saying that we are not allowed to eat the tree of life. More than that, I will go back. We're not going to go inside too much to this issue now. We're going to speak about this next week. But we can see that God is saying, for on the day, okay, the tree of knowledge, you shall not, of good and evil, you shall not eat of. For on the day that you eat the fruit, okay, you should surely die. So basically, if I will eat from the trees of life, and then I will eat from the tree of knowledge, everything will be okay. I won't die. So there is something here very tricky with this issue of the trees. What exactly is happening here? It's one tree. It's the same tree in the midst of the garden. And we call it from one side, we call it the tree of knowledge, and we're not allowed to eat of it. And we also call it tree of life, where we have no we have no problem. Okay, we have no obligation, or God doesn't say to us, in any case, that we're not allowed to eat of it. So I want to teach here something that is, again, from the Hebrew tradition. And it's something amazing, and it's also related to the things that Renat said before with his, a bit of, I will say, frightness, but it's not the word frightness. It's a bit of hesitation. I'm going to learn everything here in this world. There are things that are bad here.
Mm-hmm.
And the main
Which was Renat's point when you came back in.
Yes, and I agree with him. But the issue here is something a bit different. We spoke in a moment before that when we said that people need to eat, we said that they basically it's some sort of on the same level that people need to learn and learn and learn. But there is a question regarding this issue of learning, okay, about the issue of the contents. And the question is, what is the attitude, the approach of my learning? There are two ways how I'm learning things. I can decide to learn things. Let's take the Bible, for example. I can learn the Bible, okay? And I'm trying to understand the history side, the archaeological side, all sorts of things, who printed this Bible, who wrote this Bible, maybe
Right.
different people. So we are trying to meet this on the level of the nature. Okay, what exists? So we're asking ourselves, what is happening here? What exists? Who wrote it, and everything else. But this is a closed meeting with the world of the laws that has an end. This is a very low understanding of what's happening here. But we in the Hebrew nation believe that God is one. He created the nature from one side, but he is also speaking with us, okay, with the issue of the prophecy. Through the Bible, he's speaking with us and showing us his will, okay? And when we try to relate to the information out of a desire to meet the one who said and was ruled, okay, we want to meet God, it is a meeting with the infinite. Okay, you can go identify, you can go or you can grow behind your glass ceiling. So when you have an attitude or an approach that you're trying to meet God, this is the tree of life. So you're eating things in the way that is giving you life because you're getting connected to the source of life. But if you're trying to learn everything in this world on the way of understanding the nature, the laws of nature and everything else, this is a closed world where you can't really meet God. So if your attitude, your approach not in the right way, okay, only in the way of learning the knowledge itself. So basically you are just having, it's like you're taking a glass, and instead of putting water inside, you're just examining the glass itself. But the glass is for putting water inside and to drink water and to live from this issue. So the question is, what exactly are you doing here? You're taking the glass and trying to examine the glass, or you're trying to drink, I will say, the source of life. So it's the same tree. Everything is knowledge here. Everything here in this world is knowledge. The question is, what exactly my attitude, my approach to this knowledge? And if my approach or my attitude to this knowledge is to investigate only the nature of the world, so I'm losing it. It's not anything with life. I know one of a very big professor in Los Angeles, who wrote I wanted to find his book. Who wrote a very nice book, physics book. So he's a professor in physics. And he wrote a very nice book, how we can see from the physics the laws of God creating this world. Now it's amazing. He learned again the world, but he learned it with the attitude of trying to meet God. And vice versa. You can learn also this Bible. You can also learn all those things and still do this under the impression that you're trying just to learn the nature here.
Right.
And this is, I will say, what we said before, okay? And also, I will say the way that we are learning in this way, I'm saying to ourselves that we breaking myth and everything else because we want to break the glass ceiling of ourselves also. And we're starting to look on this way, on the knowledge here. We're starting to understand why it's a century. And everything is connected to the approach, to the attitude of man. And also, what we're saying is that everything is starting from God, who is one. So we have one God who created the nature and created also human being. He can speak with us. And the question is our attitude towards this knowledge. And then we can start or to live from this knowledge or to die from this knowledge. It's a century. People, are you with me?
I'm sorry, I'm reading some chats online as well, Rabbi. So, yeah, I really like the point beyond your glass ceiling.
Yes, and also, again, to understand that the same knowledge, you can take this knowledge and die from it, okay? The day that you will shall eat, you shall not eat from the tree of the, one before. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, okay? You should not eat from it, because if you will eat from it in this point of view, before you took to yourself the values of life, okay? You shall die. But if you're taking first the values of life, the tree of life, the values, the right values, you won't die. Then you can learn more and more because you have the right scale of values, how to live in this world, and you're all the time connected to God who created this world. So it's the same tree. People, are you with me? I'm saying you things. I hope that you're listening to me. If you have any questions or something, so this is the time. Daniel, everything is okay.
Yes, Robert. Well, I was thinking about we're we're in this world to make everything holier, not just the way we eat, but the way we learn, the way we study everything. And there's a good way to approach even science with this way of thinking, and try to make it holier, try to put a purpose on it. So I think it's pretty huge what we're learning today is.
It's true, and this is exactly how the Hebrew nation is living in the last 3,500 years. You're right, Daniel, you're right. Exactly, you said the exact words. You took the words from my mouth, because this is exactly the issue. How to learn everything and how to relate to everything here, how to adjust everything in our life, but in the eyes of connecting with the source of life who created everything here. And this is what we call also in Hebrew, we say yirat shamayim, okay, the fear of God, to understand that we are relating to God and we're getting from Him the source of life, and we can take everything to be part of God, or to be part of, to not part of God, to be part of holiness, as you said before. It is true. Everything, also, to build a state that is holiness. The Hebrew state.
Even a meal, something as simple as a meal that we take for granted every day, and we are now learning how a big deal is to eat something, how holy it is. So it's amazing.
It is true. I agree with you. It is amazing. Yes, cool. Everything is cool with you today.
Yeah, Rabbi, I keep thinking in my head that we keep talking about eating and what it does to us and whatnot, and I keep thinking metaphorically, perhaps we're talking about eating of Torah and showing the fruits of Torah by eating the words of Torah. And
wow,
does that make sense?
It is. I can tell you that in one of the books of our great rabbis, Rabbi Shneur Zalman Miladi, 250 years ago, he is explaining that when you're catching something, okay, I'm learning something, I'm catching it. What do you say? When you say that you're catching something, is that you're taking, like you're holding a plate. No, it's not holding a plate. Just a moment. I'll bring it to show it to you. Just a moment.
Wow.
I got the rabbi thinking.
You got the rabbi thinking. Well, there you go, Cole. You threw him a curveball. I'm sure he'll come up with something interesting.
I can't wait.
Wow.
You see this, okay? I'm going to show you what I'm speaking about. So when I have a vase or something like that, I want to pour water outside. How can I catch this vase? I'm holding it with my hand. Now, when I'm holding it with my hand, I'm catching it. Everything is around me. Now, he's writing down 250 years ago, when you're learning the Torah, okay, in the right attitude, you are adjusting inside your mind, inside your brain, you're catching every word, you're catching every concept, you're catching everything that God in his will said to us. So you're getting connected with God, exactly what you said. And he's taking this as an example. So it's exactly like your words. I'm catching it. And the same with the issue of the concept. I'm catching every concept that I have. I'm catching it. So if I understand that the Bible is the God wish, God will in this world, and I'm learning his wish, I'm being part of, I'm getting connected with God. So my attitude, if I have the right attitude, I'm managing to be in the tree of life, okay? And when I have the right scale, then I can learn more and learn more, because all the knowledge that I'm getting, it's like I'm expanding my, it's not a small glass, it's a bigger one, and I'm expanding myself more and more and more. But still, because I have the right attitude of the life, in the scale of the moral issues, like God said to us, so I'm expanding myself to get more and more knowledge in the right attitude.
Gotcha.
Rabbi, I have a very simple, practical question.
Yes.
I'm vegetarian. Does it mean that I do not fulfill God's commandment to elevate animals to a higher level?
I'll show you. Today you're managing to take out of me a few things, okay? There are two different...
Uh-oh, he's going to the bookshelf, Renat.
This is one of the books, okay? I'm going to show you. There's another book here. There is a very big question in the Hebrew tradition, okay? When we look at this, so we see that the first man, okay, Adam, he wasn't allowed to eat any meat. Now, Noah, when he went out of the ark, he was allowed to eat meat. The question is why? Is it because the humanity in this world went down a few levels, and therefore they are now allowed to eat meat, so we will distinguish between animals and man? Or it's because man went up one level, and he managed to save all the animals, Noah in his ark, so therefore we have, I will say, the moral level that we can eat meat. It's a very big question or debate inside the Hebrew nation, but there is also the root that is saying that at the end of days, all of the people will be vegetarians. So if it's suitable for you and you feel with this comfortable and you're healthy enough to be vegetarian, and this is what you feel inside yourself, it's excellent, everything is okay. Other people will up-level the animals, okay, in this life, but you can up-level other things, learn more things as you're doing, and everything is okay. So don't feel any bad feelings, because it's also one of the roots that we have in the Hebrew tradition, okay?
So, Rabbi, Jews believe that we are living in Messianic era, so the Messiah will come soon. Does it mean that the race of vegetarianism is just another sign?
Yeah, the root or the side of the Hebrew tradition that is going to this way, this is what they're saying, okay? But it's an interesting debate inside the Hebrew tradition, but it's okay to be vegetarian, it's very good. There are a lot of very holy people in the Hebrew tradition, in the Hebrew rabbis, that were vegetarians, so feel comfortable, it's okay, it's one of the paths, it's excellent. Don't feel bad with yourself, okay? Other people will up-level the animals. Yes.
Well, I find Rabbi, that the entire Jewish position, the sage's position, it leaves a lot of room in a lot of topics that it could go either direction, until something is illuminated that makes one direction clearer over the other, and we find Hashem's guiding in that. And when you're dealing with a question of vegetarianism versus meat, I mean, today in our day and age, they're able to make such flavorful plant-based proteins, but the debate's still out. So
okay, I'm sorry that today I had few interference. I hope that next week I won't have any at all. I appreciate everybody who came. I appreciate everybody. Next week we're going to continue on. I'm asking myself a lot. I'm telling you, it's only between us, even though it's on the internet. I'm asking myself, how did I have the dare to go inside to those few first chapters of Genesis? But we need to understand. We need to understand that the humanity that started in this world started in the left foot. I will say it like that. Okay, the first left foot that they started, that was the sin against God, that we're going to learn a bit next week and the week after that. And then the sin, the second, this is the first few chapters. The first 3 chapters are speaking about creating this world and the sin of man against God, that he ate from the tree of knowledge. He ate not in the right attitude, as we spoke today. We'll explain this a bit more deeper next week. And the second thing that we see in the 4th chapter is the sin between man and his fellow men. Okay, when Cain is murdering Abel, and those are the two starting points. Those are the 2 starting points of this, I will say, humanity that we need to fix. Then we have also a few more, problems that we need to fix, and I'm trying to expose here, the ways of the Hebrew nation, how we think, but it's something that is related to all of us, all of the humanity. The issue of how to look in this world, if the attitude will be of the way of the knowledge, or the attitude will be to be connected with the tree of life, to be connected with God who's giving life. This is something that is not related only to the Hebrew nation.
Right.
As I said, I know one very big professor, and it's a book in the Amazon that he also sent it to me. He's a very big physics professor, but he learned all of this knowledge with the attitude of tree of life. So it's not
Right.
related to only for Jewish people. It's related to all of us as human beings. How exactly we want to, the Walt Disney poo a dove, they poo the bear. The bear poo the bear. So one of the sentences is, when you're waking up in the morning, the only thing that you need to figure out is what is your right foot and what is your left foot. Then you can decide how to start your day with the right foot. Okay, and on the same issue, the question here is how exactly you want to learn, how exactly you want to be related with God. And this is something that is connected to all of people in this world, because all of us have the same, say, mindset, we have the same logic. And this is what I'm calling all of us, start to look at things in the right direction, and then we will manage to give peace to this world. Another thing that I will say, I will conclude, I'm sorry, I must go, I'm sorry. I will conclude with the issue that I admire all of you to come and to be part of this lesson. And the question is, and I think that tomorrow I'm going to speak about this a bit with Matas, how exactly we're going to build up some communities around us. How we're going to do this? There are ways how to spread the word and to be part of this revolution in this world. I will conclude with another thing. Rabbi Sherky, who is the head of this of our organization, of the Malchai organization, He is this week. He's in the east, in one of the countries. He's running in the east, in the countries, and they accepted him in the airport with 300 people there. Okay, I'm calling him that they want that the Mashiach will come soon. So the Mashiach won't come by himself without anything. The Mashiach will come by us doing actions. And when I'm saying doing actions, is learning the right ways, behaving in a moral way, and also trying to bring more people to this truth. So I'm admiring each one and one of you that here is with me, with us. It's not with me, it's with us. And hopefully, soon we're going to be in the beginning of this revolution. It's a very big issue. And thank you very much, everybody, for coming, attending. And,
wow. Well, I think we touched on a lot of great points today, Rabbi. And I think approaching with the right attitude is one of the big lessons that came across in the end. And I want to thank you for that. So, folks, till next week, Rabbi, we're on for next week, you're saying?
Yes, next week.
Next week, folks, same time, same place. We'll be here continuing in the book of Genesis with Rabbi Chaim and all of our wonderful friends around the globe that have joined us. And we really appreciate even Daniel from South America jumping in with us today, and everybody else, Mattis, Renat, Cole, Timothy. It was so good to see you again. Plus online, we've got some people from Kentucky. We've got some people from Tennessee. We've got people from all over. And we hope to see you guys all again next week. And thank you. Have a wonderful week, folks.
Dan, another thing, maybe this week video, I will also put the link how to be part on this with us on live. So people won't need to be only on the internet without us. They can be part of this lesson. You can open this as a big lesson, so people will be part of this also.
All right, Rabbi, and if you need me to upload this to you on the Dropbox folder, I'd be glad to. So.
Yes. Why not? It's taking me time, but I'm organizing this also in Persian, so we will manage to give it to people in other ways also. So please, if you can put it on. Thank you very much. See you all next week. Bye.
Thank
Have
you.
a great